I'm Justin White, and we're at Small Bar Chicago, where I'm the executive chef. Today we're going to talk about and make a hickory smoked sausage. Call it a beef hot link, and it's indigenous to the southeast of the United States. We're going to start by making our spice blend. Now we've got a bunch of ingredients here, but they're small amounts, and we're looking at around a 2-pound batch of sausage that we're preparing for. So I've got 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1/2 teaspoon fresh ground coriander, 1½ tablespoons kosher salt, 1 tablespoon dried marjoram. I've got 2 blanched garlic cloves that have been minced, 1 tablespoon hot smoked paprika, 1/2 teaspoon ground clove, 2 tablespoons cracked black pepper, 1 teaspoon dried sage, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of allspice, 1½ teaspoons of granulated sugar, and I've got 2 ounces of iced red wine vinegar. I'm going to combine all these together, and while this sits, we're going to grind our meat. Now we're going to grind our meat, and what I've put together for us is 2 pounds of chuck shoulder, that's beef, 1/3 of a pound of pork shoulder, and 2/3 of a pound of pork fatback. Now that we have all of our meat put together, I've got a 1/4 inch die that I'm going to grind, and I'm going to alternate our beef and our fatback as I'm grinding. And it's really important whenever you're working with meat. As you can see, I've got our meat on a bowl with some ice underneath it. It's very important to make sure that you're paying attention to your temperature regulations. You don't want to cause anyone to get sick, and we want to make sure that this meat is as cold as possible, ideally around 38 degrees. And that's it. Once our meat is ground, we're going to bring it back over and mix it with our spice mixture. So we've ground through our beef, our pork, and our fatback, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start to emulsify it. Now the emulsification here is pretty important, that we're doing it cold. Once again, I'm on top of ice. And as I've worked our meat just a touch, I'm going to add the spice mixture that we prepared a moment ago. We're going to work this with our hands until you notice that it becomes a slight bit tacky, so it should stick to my fingers. Just want to knead the meat relatively aggressively, and we want to make sure that our fat and all of our pork and our beef have been distributed evenly. And what I'm doing is really just grabbing the meat and squeezing it between my fingertips. Which is only going to take a couple more seconds here. I feel it coming together. Well, we've effectively built our spice mixture. We've ground our meat, and we've emulsified it and seasoned it. And now we're going to stuff it into shape. All right, so I filled up a 10-pound casing canister. We've got a 33mm hog casing here on the end. What I'm going to do is just show you how to pipe it out and link it up. So, taking our time, we really need to pay attention to our pressure. And I'm just going to kind of twist as I go here. And for the 2 pounds of meat that we made, depending on the size of the links that you're building, we should probably get about a dozen 8 to 10 inch links from this. So I'm just going to let it move its way all the way out. And that's it. So now that our sausage is nice and stuffed, I'm going to unwind this just a little bit. I'm going to twist it off. I'm just going to kind of give myself a rough estimate here of about 6 inches. And I'm going to twist one side, but what I want to do is alternate. So I'm going to twist coming towards me on this link. Then I'm going to twist going away from myself on this link. This will ensure that they don't unwind. You want to make sure you get a good 10 to 12 turns on there, just so that it doesn't separate. And when you cut these in half, you don't want your sausage to spill out. Whoop. All right, we got one more. Cool. Now all we've got left to do is to smoke them. All right, over here I've got an electric smoker. It's a mild industrial grade smoker. You could certainly do this on your home over an open coal plate. If you know how to smoke, I'm not teaching you anything new. I've loaded up some hickory chips in here today, and I've set it at about 85 degrees, and that's my initial smoking temperature. Now I'm going to fit a plate down here about midway through. We're going to take the links that we just did. We're going to line them up in there with plenty of space, making sure that there's an even smoke cook time here. All right. I'm going to shut the door. We're going to let it go for about 3 hours. And we're going to do our first hour at about 90 degrees. We're going to kick it up to about 120, do our second hour. And we're going to drop it back down to about 90 degrees. So after about 3.5 hours of 4 hours under smoke, we come out with our sausage. Now I just let this warm up on the grill a little bit, build a pellicle and a nice crunch. Here we've made a beautiful hickory smoked beef sausage. Enjoy. Again, my name is Justin White, Small Bar Chicago. Thank you for joining us and enjoy.